The terror. Well, we call this place Rebel Headquarters, and we were rebelling against the establishment. And now this will be true Rebel Headquarters as Trump and his cronies begin their march against our freedoms. So we're going to do analysis on the extent of the damage that could be done once the election is called. And it is not going to be pretty. And then we might literally be targeted. So remember Alex Jones and Roger Stone bust onto our set in the RNC, and there were no consequences. They walked around. They didn't get arrested. They didn't get escorted out of the building, and they laughed about it. And so now those guys will be in charge in a lot of ways on a national level. Alex Jones believes that he has been deprived of the life extension technology and that the culprits are aliens and the devil.
Let me just say,
that guy is now on the air with Roger Stone, who is one of Trump's top henchmen, together right now. So the crazy people are in charge. So it's not done yet, but the insane are about to take over the asylum. So we're this close.
I just wanted to say, if there was life extension technology, I would make it my life goal. I would quit everything that I do, and I would make it my life goal to ensure that Alex Jones is deprived of that.
Can I give a couple of quick updates?
Yeah.
Some of these are done, some are not done. So, we said that Florida was called, I believe. Russ Feingold is down by 6 or 7 points at this point.
Unbelievable.
In Wisconsin.
Up like 7, 8 points 3 weeks ago.
He should easily win this.
James Comey.
Yeah, and Zephyr Teachout is down by 6 points in New York. Super strong progressive, down by 6 points in this fucking crazy country we have.
But look, guys, the angry, unlikely voters showed up. So it's not Comey that did in Zephyr Teachout, right? It hurt Russ Feingold. It certainly hurt Hillary Clinton. But the anger towards Hillary Clinton's emails, I don't know that it reverberates enough to do in Zephyr Teachout a super strong progressive in New York. No, a lot of guys showed up to vote for Trump. And when they did, they voted against every Democrat they saw. And so that's why the Republicans are going to hold the Senate. They're going to hold the House. And now we're on the verge of a political bloodbath. So now there are no liberals left to defend us, right? So, yeah, Bernie's there, Elizabeth Warren is there, and boy, they're going to be on the warpath. But Feingold looks like he's gone. Zephyr Teachout didn't make it to Congress. And the list goes on. And by the way, here's another topic that we can talk about. Let me do it real quick. The Republican obstructionism on the Supreme Court worked. So they held, and they would not confirm a justice for a record-breaking, nearly a year, a record-breaking amount of time. And they just said, I don't care. We're not going to do our jobs. We're not going to do it. We're not going to do it. We're obstructionists. Meanwhile, our idiot press called it even. I don't know who's responsible for the obstructionism. Could be Republicans. It could be Obama. Obama didn't play enough golf with them.
Democrats do it too, right? He was a guy who really spent his whole first 4 years reaching out, getting rejected on reaching out, only didn't make a horrible grand bargain because the Tea Party wouldn't make that deal. Gets accused of not reaching out.
And so now their obstructionism is going to lead to a conservative Supreme Court instead of a progressive Supreme Court.
Maybe the Democrats won't.
So that goes to the core of it, Ben, right? So now the Democrats, who never, ever fight, they just sat there. They're like,
They didn't even use it as the electoral bludgeon that they expected to, because they had this gift giving them every day in Donald Trump. And so that's all they did, was talk about Trump and try and tie these candidates to Trump. I'm not saying I wouldn't have done the same thing, but it didn't work, obviously.
Look, I got to be honest. I don't want to say it now because it's a terrible time, and it sounds like, oh, yeah, you're trying to take credit at a bad time. But I told you, every strategy they had was stupid. They kept saying, oh, we're going to emphasize how bad Trump is. For the people voting for Trump, that wasn't the bug, it was the feature. And you kept advertising it for him. hey, look at this guy. He's against all the guys you're against. Oh, thanks for letting me know. I guess I'll show up and vote, right? No, you had to hit him on what a loser he was, what an incompetent he was. But they never bothered to go to that strategy. Oh, we'll tell you one more time what a bigot he is. No, tell us about his bankruptcies. You never talked about his bankruptcies. You never talked about any of the obstruction they did, and the press called it even. And now we're going to get a conservative Supreme Court. And you know what will happen? You think the Democrats will do the same? You know what the Republicans promised right before the election? John McCain and others said, we're not going to confirm for 4 years. Okay? If Hillary Clinton wins, we're never going to confirm. And they said there's nothing wrong with an 8-person Supreme Court. Do you think Democrats will do likewise? First of all, they don't have the Senate, so they're all out of options. Now, they could do a filibuster on a Supreme Court nominee. You think the Republicans won't take it away? You think the Republicans won't take away the filibuster? And you think the Democrats will hold strong? Here, I got news for you. They won't. They will buckle, and they'll buckle super, super easy because they're a party of weaklings. And that is not by accident. It is by design. Because what do the donors fund? They fund strong right-wingers and weak Democrats. So the Democrats will go, oh, God, there was nothing I could do. Oh, the Republican Congress or the Republicans made me do this. Okay, you win. Let's do more tax cuts for corporations, etc. So that is what the donors fund. If the donors see a strong Democrat, they run from the building. They go, whoa, that sounds like a radical. That sounds like a populist. That sounds like somebody who might raise my taxes by 1%. I'm going to go ahead and fund the weakest Democrats in the world. And so that is the system that produces this. So now it looks like, as Trump is on the verge of victory here tonight, that you're going to have a conservative Supreme Court for God knows how long. Because not only is there an empty seat, but there's a lot of old Supreme Court justices. Donald Trump, not only is he going to give you a giant right-winger, his first choice, when they first asked about him a long time ago during the early parts of the primaries, was Judge Napolitano, the Fox News contributor. Okay, you should have talked about what an imbecile he is. You should have taken away any pride he had. You should have talked about all he had was daddy's money so that the people going in there to vote wouldn't have thought this is the strong man who's going to go after our enemies. They would have thought this is the pathetic guy who couldn't manage his way out of a paper bag. They let this incompetent win. Talk about how historically pathetic the Democratic Party is. That they let this guy who has never had any success in business, he's had a track record of monumental failure. And they let him win the presidency and become the most powerful. The Democratic Party is gone. Before the election, we talked about, there might be a Republican civil war. I didn't talk about it, but the rest of the press couldn't stop talking about, what will the Republicans do, right? No. The question is, what's the Democratic Party going to do to rise from the ashes? Because they are in ashes. Any continual path down this corporatist, moderate, so-called moderate, nowhere near moderate, it's right wing, the so-called centrist, no, it's all on behalf of their donors. Any further steps that way, and I'll tell you this right now, we are in total fucking war, okay? I'm not talking about the Republican Party. Yeah, sure, I'm happy to be at war with them. I'm happy to be at war with Trump, and it looks like I'm going to be for 4 years. But I'm at war with the Democratic Party, this corporatist, weak, spineless, pathetic party that lets the imbeciles on the Republican side walk all over this country, that handed power to a raging, not just bigot, but an incompetent. The last time we had one like that, what do we have? The Iraq War, Hurricane Katrina, and the Great Recession. We're going to have it again, and it's because the Democratic Party doesn't know how to win because they're paid to lose. And I'm done with the losers, and I'm done with those donors. I don't give a fuck what the donors want, okay? So the DNC, you think we're coming for you? You're goddamn right we're coming for you. We're going to pulverize the DNC. We're going to rip it to shreds so that none of those idiot loser corporatists could ever screw up an election like this again. So, yes, we are at war now. So even if by some miracle here, as we're past 11 o'clock Eastern in our live coverage, by some miracle Hillary Clinton wins, I don't care. We're still at war. We're still at war because you are this close to handing Trump ultimate power on this planet. Are you insane, you pathetic losers? I'm tired of you taking money to lose. No, we're going to go to war. We're going to shred them. There's no more talk of corporatists. There's no more talk of Evan Loser Buys and all these Patrick Murphy. I'm done with all of them. So rise up, everybody. Rise up. Okay? And by the way, you know what the goddamn answer is. Get money out of politics. With money in politics, this is the disaster that we had. Because it wasn't just that they bought the Republican Party. The most important thing was they bought the Democratic Party. Wolf-pack.com. Everybody join today. Everybody. And if you don't think Wolfpack's the right answer, you think there's a better way to get money out of politics, for God's sake, join it today. Join whatever you think is the right cause today, because here's what's not coming to the rescue. The Democratic Party. They are not coming to the rescue. They're a bunch of pathetic losers who are groveling to their donors for what's next. Go to war. Go to war. Wolf-pack.com. Join today. Give money if you can. Volunteer if you can. Get out in the streets. You know what we do? We go play hardball politics. Here, let me tell you a quick story. There's a guy named Steve Valancourt up in New Hampshire. He opposed us in New Hampshire. Did we play fucking golf with him? Is that what we did at Wolfpack? No, we didn't listen to the stupid press telling us to have beer summits. We sent our Wolfpack Team 6 into New Hampshire. We went and knocked on every door. You know what we did? He was a 6-term incumbent. We handed him his ass. He lost because we know how to do politics. They don't know how to do politics. We do because we're not beholden to the donors. You know what we do? We actually appeal to voters. We're gonna go after them in every conceivable way. And so they think I'm the enemy. Yeah, goddamn right I'm your enemy if you keep taking that goddamn donor money and destroying this country. New York Times now has it at?
Like 95%.
They called North Carolina.
95% chance that Donald Trump is going to be
at
president.
At 11, 538 still had it at 50-50. It's now 37%.
North Carolina has been called. It goes to Donald Trump. And Wisconsin and Michigan still leaning red. Brought to you by the fucking morons at the Democratic Party.
I mean, you're 100% right. And the thing about Trump, in every level, in every one of these fights, the opposition has made the mistake of trying to fight on his terms. We're going to call you names. We're going to call you stupid. You're a bad guy, blah, blah, blah. And you just like you said, instead of offering an alternative, these are the policies. What's his policy? He's got bankruptcies. He's a failed businessman, blah, blah, blah. They didn't go after any of that. They went after the name calling and the emotional stuff, the sexist, racist stuff, and it didn't work. And it never worked against him. Exactly what you said. That's appealing to his base when you say that. You point out what they consider his most attractive qualities.
So in Star Trek, in the original series, there's a monster. It's hard to forget it because it's such an appealing concept, right? Like you instantly get it. They go down to this planet and they fire the phasers, but the monster feeds off of the energy of the phasers. So every time they fire at it, it gets bigger and stronger. See, unlike the Democrats, they figured out, stop firing the phasers. And so in this case, the phasers are, oh, he's a bigot. Oh, he's racist. Oh, he's sexist. You know what the American people heard? They heard he's not a politician. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So whether it's, and by the way, mainstream media, I got to stop ranting about you because you're on the fucking precipice of death. You're becoming so goddamn irrelevant. So you and your pathetic predictions and your constant he said, she said, both sides do it bullshit. You know what the American people are sick of? And now I can speak for them because we were right about warning you that this stuff was going to work on the Trump side and the populism was coming. We were right about that and you were wrong about it. You thought the establishment was hunky goddamn dory. Well, look, people don't like fakeness. They don't like it. They like authentic things. So right now, I don't know what CNN is doing, but I bet if you turn into their live coverage now, they're all very hushed tones. Okay, now reporting for Wisconsin still going to Donald Trump. Nobody's saying, hey, we're going to war. Nobody's saying, hey, oh my God, this was a monumental, grotesque failure of the Democratic Party that every single person at the DNC should be fired because they're not that animated. They don't care. Oh, I'm a news actor. What does it say in the prompter? Let me read the goddamn prompter. I get paid for this. Am I still getting $10 million a year? Great. Let me read the goddamn prompter. So TikTok, okay? So, okay, hang on to your 68-year-old audience, okay? But the younger people have no interest in Wolf Blitzer reading anything to them. No interest at all. So keep on reading your stupid-ass script. We're going to murder you, okay? We're going to end you. We're going to finish you, okay? Because we're authentic, and you are a bunch of actors, and you don't care about the news, and so it's only a matter of time. So good night and good luck with that.
Well, I just can't get over the fact that you keep talking about the populist thing. So they squashed the populist in their own party, which was Bernie, and we now know elevated the populist in their opposition party, in the Republican Party, thinking that we'll crush that guy. And I thought the mistake was going to be that they were going to beat Trump this time, and then they were going to do the same thing in 4 years, thinking they were going to, and that was when they were going to lose. And here it is right now. It's exactly the same thing. People are really hurting. What Howard Dean said 13 years ago was, if you want to know why half the country isn't voting, it's because you have to give them something to vote for. And all they gave us was something to vote against. And this is the result. This is the result of taking all those Goldman Sachs speeches the year before you decided to run for president, even when your internal memos reveal that your own staff was telling you not to do this. So this is the result of all that. I hope those checks were worth it, because this is the result of it. The good news is that we're all going to fight together to return our country to the country it was supposed to be a long time ago. What started with Ronald Reagan, we now have to start working to unwind, because it's here now. And I think it will happen. I think people will come together now.
All right, let me give you some of the latest results. Where we stand now, because they're not called. New Hampshire is 60% reporting. Trump's got a 48.2 to 46.4 lead, so obviously 1.8 percentage lead there. That is not good news, but it's not over. In Pennsylvania, Clinton has a 2.3% lead with 81% reporting. That is good news, okay? So, look, the lead was much, much larger, but that was never real. They just hadn't counted the Republican parts yet. And to what degree Republican and Democratic parts are left, I don't know. Maybe Ben can tell us about that more later. But she is holding on to a 2.3% lead, which means she can still win. Yes, it's only a 5% chance now. But she can still win, but in order to do so, she has to win Wisconsin and Michigan, which we previously thought was not an issue, but it most certainly is an issue now. In Michigan, with 53% reporting, he has a 1.9% lead. Look, these are not over, okay? So that's a lot of votes still left to count in Michigan, and his lead is only about 2 points. In Wisconsin, we've got 65% reporting. His lead is 3 points. That is more troubling. It is a larger lead, and it is more people reporting, okay? So that's the same Wisconsin that just killed Russ Feingold tonight. So Wisconsin, by the way, used to be one of the most liberal states in the country. And now you've got Scott Walker, who reports to the Koch brothers as his boss, as the governor. You're going to put Ron Johnson back in the Senate, and Wisconsin might kill any chance of Hillary Clinton becoming president and put Trump in the White House. So that's the place we're in now, which then makes me think, okay, maybe Alonzo's right. Maybe this is who America is.
Yeah, I mean, to listen to our frustration and how upset we are, I'm hearing the Fox News audience when Barack Obama got elected, and the world was going to come to an end, and everything they knew, everything in their America was going to go away, and they were going to lose their guns and their liberty and so on. They were saying the same thing. The big difference is that they had the power of the obstructionist Republican Congress and Senate, and the Democrats have no power. And what you said about Democrats not being able to fight, I mean, I've been saying that for so long. You got to learn to fight dirty. You got to fight on that. You got to get down on the ground and scrap with these people, and they don't do it. They fight amongst themselves, and they talk about aiming high. America doesn't aim high. America goes for the throat. America, that's what works, and they didn't do it. And we can second guess it all now, But now it might be too late. Like you said, there's a 95% chance that this is too late. And the people who are going to get hurt by it won't feel it for a while. They won't feel it for a while, but they're going to feel it. And we will be living in a different country.
For whatever it's worth, I think it's worth a lot. 538 has just a 61% chance that Trump wins. And as you look at the numbers, it's worth, Hillary Clinton is down, counting everything that, like on the Huffington Post right now. Huffington Post, according to Huffington Post, Hillary Clinton has won the presidency. 98% chance. She has 197 electoral votes, giving her Oregon and Washington, Colorado, and New Mexico. If you won Maine and the 3 electoral votes, assuming Trump won that other district in Maine, Pennsylvania, 23. Michigan, 16 is 39. Wisconsin, 49. Minnesota, 59. Washington, 71. Nevada, 77. That's 274. And she's president. So you got to run that table.
Apparently Detroit, there's still a lot.
Okay. Yeah, Michigan's gotten close. It's not. It's within the realm of possibility. It's, what do we got, 56,000 votes in Detroit now.
So the money doesn't...
into Michigan.
So the Democrats for a long time now have thought that if I raise more money, I'm a winner.
That's right.
So I just need to raise more money, and whatever I can do to raise more money, that's what I need to do. If it means turning my back on working people and unions and getting in bed with Wall Street and Silicon Valley and exporting jobs and doing trade deals that screw over our own people and leave no safety net for the people left behind, we're going to do it. This is the result of it. So we'll see what happens.
So I wanted to give you guys a sense of what exactly conservatives would do with all the power that they're going to have in this country. And I think these 2 ballot measures in Oklahoma kind of perfectly summarize what the religious right wants in America. So there are 2 ballot measures in Oklahoma that have passed, okay? And one of them is the execution methods one that I had described earlier on. Essentially, it says that the state will still continue with using controversial drugs to carry out executions, even though courts will be looking at these cases to figure out whether or not it is constitutional. There was that high-profile case of a man who was executed with a controversial drug. He suffered for 45 minutes before he finally had a heart attack and died. Okay, so Oklahoma voters say, nah, we don't care if it's pain and suffering. We're going to go ahead and pass this ballot measure. 66.5% said yes. Now, here's another ballot measure that should give you a sense of how messed up things could get. There was also a measure about funds for religious use. The measure would allow public money to be spent for religious purposes. 57.1% voted no. But 42.9% voted yes. And even though it didn't pass, it's still a huge chunk of people that think it's okay for government money to be used for religious purposes. Now, do you think it's going to be used equally or allocated equally across all religions? Of course not.
Some for Buddhists,
right? But
some for Hindus.
Mary Fallon's the governor of Oklahoma, and, any ounce of normal leadership, when you execute a guy and it takes 45 minutes for him to die, and they don't know how to, and the suffering is indisputed.
Yeah.
I mean, no one's saying they get out. All you say is, until we solve this, we're not going to have the death penalty. That's what any sane country would do. Mm-hmm. They would just say, they're in prison for their life, and if we figure it out at a later date, maybe we'll bring the death penalty back. I thought that we were actually headed toward a moment where the Supreme Court might overturn the death penalty, but we're looking at at least 2, probably Donald Trump Supreme Court justices, so it's not going to happen.
The big winner tonight seems to be marijuana, though, and that's a good thing because we need something to ease
the
pain. Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm going to do as soon as I get home tonight. North Dakota, with 71.5% of the vote of course, that's not all of it, but Politico is reporting that North Dakota has voted yes on medicinal marijuana, 64.1%. Okay, so Politico again is calling it. And then Massachusetts is still looking good for recreational marijuana. It's still a tight lead, but it's still looking very good. 59.9% reporting.
So did you just say California has approved it?
No. I'm talking about Massachusetts. So 59.9% reporting, and the yes vote is leading 53 to 46.
Okay, California has approved Prop 64. Marijuana is now legal in California.
They have. Okay.
Yes. So smoke them if you got them. Light up right now.
Can I add just one? Because as we're going over those numbers that take Trump to Clinton to like 277, but there's a great scenario here where she actually comes back, wins New Hampshire, but maybe doesn't win Nevada, right? And then there's a number here where this night gets better and she hits 270, and then that jackass elector in Washington.
Oh God!
Sends it to the House, and then we probably might not get Donald Trump. Then we get President Pence, probably. The House.
No, Paul Ryan. Or Marco Rubio.
I think this is just for historical sake. We got this whole way. He never released his taxes.
Never. The guy running for president never released taxes.
He
didn't pay taxes. We know he said it. He didn't pay taxes. That's why he didn't release.
I crunched some numbers. I think a third of the world population are hackers now. We couldn't get one of his tax returns. How many thousands of emails did we break down in excruciating detail to make sure that we understand? What's that? We got one, didn't we? His tax? No. We got his personal filings, and we got some information from 1978 or something like that.
95. We got
95.
But thank God, we had access to the important information before the election.
You know why we got that tax return? It is, maybe saying likely is a little strong, but there is a very good chance that Trump sent that in. So for those of you who missed that story, the tax returns were sent to the New York Times from the Trump Tower. Okay, so it might have been an insider at the Trump Tower. That's why he sent it from there. It didn't say who sent it. It didn't know, but they got it. And then from my recollection of the rest of the story, it had a couple of details where I was like, oh my God, that sounds like Trump. So why would Trump send his 95 tax returns? Well, that had the $914 million loss on it or whatever, right? Because that goes to show you, well, you see that? That's why I didn't pay any taxes, because I had that big loss. I was right. And I was smart to take that loss. Now, if you were the Democrats, what you would have done is, look at this pathetic guy who lost $914 million in 1 year. Jesus Christ, how bad a businessman is he, right? They never went down that path. So instead, we got, give us more. So look, here, I'll do more political prognostication on how to do politics right, because I think I've earned it, okay? So regular people don't care about things like you didn't release your tax returns. That's like a Washington thing, okay?
Oh, they might care about the details that are revealed in that.
That's right. That's why you don't release them. If I was Trump, there's no force on earth that would have got me to release my tax returns, which would have proved how little money I make, how much I cheated on my taxes. Oh, boo-hoo, you didn't release your taxes. People aren't going to vote based on whether you released your taxes or not, right? They thought it was a good strategy to say that the Republicans, are blocking the Supreme Court justice. They didn't do it enough, some claim, and we talked about it earlier in the show. But in reality, that's not what people vote on, right?
I agree.
They vote on strength, okay? They vote on in essence, two things, right? Do I like you, and are you strong, okay? And so it is that simple. It is that simple. And when you talk like a simpleton, they think, oh, that guy's not fake. That guy is not fake like all the stupid politicians who roll up their sleeves and take off their jackets. And he has a veneer of authenticity, and he's going around knocking everybody down.
Yeah.
That means he's strong. So what are you supposed to do? You were supposed to knock him off his strong pedestal. You were supposed to make him look weak. But after all these years, Democrats still don't get it. They think, oh, well, I showed them that, I'll go halfway towards Republicans. Other than the fact that it's not what the American people are interested in policy-wise, according to the polling, but more importantly, the giant signal you're sending when you say, I'll meet the Republicans halfway is, I am weak, they are strong. And once you send that signal, you're screwed. And that's why you've got a political bloodbath tonight.
Can I give you a bit of good news?
Yeah,
yes.
This is good news. It's tiny. Going for his 7th term as Maricopa County Sheriff, Joe Arpaio has lost.
Oh, thank God.
Sheriff Joe is
something.
out. I never
here's
thought
another. Well, here's some other good news. 13,000 votes in Michigan. Michigan's almost tied.
Oh, that is good news.
Michigan's almost tied. Again, Michigan, Wisconsin, Minnesota, Nevada, Washington.
I would say
possible. It's possible.
It's possible.
So
and holding, obviously, in Pennsylvania, and New Hampshire would give New Hampshire, which is not.
I just realized, based on my prediction record, I now predict that Hillary Clinton will lose.
Okay.
The
By the way,
scary thing,
and in 538, the numbers, they moved Clinton from 37% to 40%.
the scary thing about Sheriff Joe being out of work is he's now available for the Trump administration.
Oh my God.
Oh, no.
Sheriff
By the
Joe
way,
gonna be
boo
looking
this
for a
man.
job.
By the way, head of Homeland Security. That would be
Oh
my
my
guess.
God.
You know, maybe DEA head. Maybe, by the way, maybe head of the FBI. Like
Yeah, top cop.
ATF,
top
he's
cop.
got experience.
Yeah.
He's ridden in a tank.
That's right.
You know, Steven Seagal could be the head of the fucking ATF in a couple months.
I just got a text that we have more people watching us than ABC.
So, I look probably online right now. We've got we've got over 130,000 people watching us. It's unprecedented for online, and so bless your hearts. By the way, keep sharing because this election's not over. Look, we've been right on a lot of things here, and so the other thing we're telling you is that the election's not over. If it was over, I'd be the first one to tell you, right? But it's not. Again, most of the press is now swung to an overreaction that it's over. I've maintained all night that Nate Silver is closest to right. He was closest to right going in. He's been closest to right in not panicking in either direction. So, and I'm not trying to delude you here. Her chances are still slim. You still got to run the table. But she can win Michigan, Wisconsin, and then either New Hampshire or Nevada, and she wins. And she's got to hold Pennsylvania, right? So that's a lot of ifs, but it's not out of the question, right? And by the way, that changes none of my commentary from tonight. We're going to war against the DNC no matter what, because if they survive this, the lesson is not let's go more in that direction. No. The building has to be torn down, okay? Whether they survive it or not, whether we survive it, the world survives it or not. And by the way, think about if she comes back and wins. Now, every conservative in the country is going to say rigged. Because they're going to think, because they're not smart, they're going to think, we had it. New York Times told me I had a 95% chance of winning. And then at the end, no, it doesn't work that way. You vote and then you count. The count is what's coming in, right? Not the voting. And at the end, they stole it from us. Then batten down the hatches for that if that unlikely scenario happens. So, but it is not over. She can still pull out all those states, and that is not wishful thinking. It is real.
Is there any way we can blame this on the Cubs? Just any way
Shit.
that with all
What
due
a
respect,
year.
Chicago, come on.
The curse has been shifted onto the American people.
Wow.
Imagine
I don't-
Press Secretary Corey Lewandowski.
Oh, Jesus.
All of it's going to happen. If Trump wins,
Chief of Staff
all
Paul
nightmare
Manafort.
scenarios are on the table.
So there's no. I'm trying to see if there's a scenario without Wisconsin.
There isn't.
There isn't. 268 looks to be the highest you can get to without
Georgia hasn't been called.
Wisconsin, unless she gets all 4 of the electoral votes in Maine, in which case we're at 269, and then you're in the tie. Without Wisconsin,
Well, look-
but with New Hampshire.
Look, you know what's still possible? My exact prediction. She wins Virginia, Pennsylvania, Colorado, and she pulls out New Hampshire and gets Wisconsin and Michigan, in which case that would be the exact 272 that I predicted ahead of time.
Fox
Yeah.
has called Wisconsin for Trump.
Really?
Well, that's that.
If
That's according
Fox
to
is
Michael
right,
Shore.
first of all, this I'm not going for, okay? That might turn out to be completely right, but it might not. Remember last time Fox called a close election, it was a total and utter lie. It was George Bush's cousin at their so-called election headquarters who called Florida, and he was wrong. Al Gore wound up winning the recount in Florida well after the fact. So hold on Fox News calling a goddamn election, okay? So now if others follow suit and they call Wisconsin, it is over, and he will be president.
Because the best she could do is tie. I find it, and the numbers are terrible in Wisconsin. I mean, Michigan pulled to within. She's now down 14,000 votes in Michigan with 62% in. So let's presume things go well. It's like Virginia, and she gets that. But Wisconsin, with 71% in, it's 70,000 votes. You know, and in Wisconsin, 70,000 votes means a lot more than 70,000 votes in Michigan. So I don't. My hunch is they're right. That's why I was busy trying to figure out if there was a way to win this without Wisconsin. By the way, the way to win it without Wisconsin would be to somehow have them be wrong and you steal Iowa, but Iowa's gone the wrong way. Arizona. But Arizona, they're all the same. They're all about the same percentage, 3.5 to 4 points in every one of those states. And Iowa, the polling was particularly terrible, and Iowa's a full 5-point lead. But Wisconsin is 3.4, and Arizona is 3.6.
Georgia still hasn't been called.
I know Georgia still hasn't been called. By the way, she's losing in Washington, but it's close.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, congratulations. The largest state in the union was called for Hillary Clinton, California. Okay, and so was Oregon. Totally irrelevant at this point. Also, by the way, great system we have here, this electoral college, where the largest state in the union, that if it was an independent country would be the 7th largest economy in the world, is irrelevant to our presidential politics.
I know.
Yeah.
And by the way, the 3 largest states, not just California, New York, Texas, which is red, all irrelevant. We have eliminated our 3 largest states. All the citizens in them, their votes are completely irrelevant to who becomes president. That's beyond insane. When are we going to change this goddamn thing?
Well, we never think about it until the night of the presidential election. This is true of both sides. This is the same thing that was said, in past elections. Whenever they complain about the Electoral College, it's on Election Day. And then the next day, it's completely forgotten about. And if you're going to change it, you have to change it in between elections.
By the way, you know who's partly at fault for that too? Again, the weak Democrats.
Yeah.
Why? My God, in 2000, you won the election, you idiots. You won the popular vote. And by the way, when they recounted the whole state of Florida, you won that too.
Yes.
But you didn't bother complaining about it. That is unbelievable. It's unbelievable. So they just rolled over. Oh, well, we don't want to create any havoc. You're the ones who won the election, but yet they took the presidency. What do you mean you don't want to cause trouble? You know what that says? We're paid to lose. So we lost and we took it like champs. Imagine if the Republicans had won the popular vote and then on a recount had won Florida and had won the election. You know what we would have had? We would have had civil war on our hands. Okay? But the Democrats are like, yes, sir, thank you, sir, absolutely, sir, right? So why do we have the Electoral College? Because the guys who got screwed out of a win, the Democrats, never made a peep about it.
Georgia's been called for Trump.
Georgia's called. Florida, New York Times is much more conservative than other organizations in actually calling the states, okay? Not in the percentage chance of Trump winning, but in calling the states. They finally called Florida.
Well, it's 132,000 votes. I mean, remember George W. Bush led by, it ended up being 537, I think, something like that.
537.
537 votes, but it
That's
was like 1,100 when they started the recount, and this is 132,000. So it's not.
And this basically fits in with what you said, but to flesh out a little bit more, I mean, we had an opportunity to make Election Day a national holiday. We could have pushed when we had the supermajority for automatic registration for everybody. I mean, we look at this map, and this is what happened in these states, but we have no idea what effect there was that some of these states don't have early voting. Most don't have mail-in voting, obviously. There was voter suppression, and there were polling places shut down, and there was voter intimidation. And there was in Florida, because of the hurricane, thankfully the Republican governor cut off registration. Thankfully, a judge extended it a little bit. And so voter suppression is sending just waves rippling throughout all of this, and many of the states would end up going in the same way, but we've got Florida, which is a little bit over 1 point in one direction, and there's systemic voter suppression throughout Florida.
So, okay, here.
And like you said, we have a party that goes hardcore to stop as many people as possible from voting, and we have another party that protects it a little bit and doesn't really prioritize it and doesn't hurt them with ads and point out that this is an anti-democratic party that wants to stop as many people as possible from ever engaging with our political process.
We're going to rebuild the Democratic Party to the point where they're going to be afraid of us. So enough with the weaklings. So the pendulum will swing too far, okay? And then I'll warn you about it when it gets to that point. Up until then, keep on swinging. Okay, because look, this uneven playing field is killing us. When they do election fraud and they just say, okay, I'm removing, hundreds of polling stations in the South. Now that the Voting Rights Act is not enforced anymore, oh, look at that, it's all in black areas. And I just removed all those polls. Ha ha, there's nothing you could do about it. What do the Democrats say in their usual, yes or no? Well, golly gee, you shouldn't do that. No. Now, you want to hear a radical idea? I said it a couple of days ago on the show before the election, because unlike everybody else, I wasn't taking it as a given. You do likewise. You've got Democratic mayors all across the country. You go, oh, look at that, man. Oh, my heavily Republican suburb. I got budget issues, man. I got budget issues. I shut down all of your polling stations. You shut down one of ours, we shut down two of yours. Okay, and you know where you're going to have to vote now? You're going to have to come into West Philadelphia and North Philadelphia, and you're going to have to vote there. What? What's the problem? I got budget issues. You said you had budget issues. I've got budget issues. You're African Americans and registered Democrats can't vote in the South? No problem at all. Now, Republicans in the suburbs of the North can't vote either. Okay? Hey, I got budget issues. You told me that it wasn't election fraud at all. The Republicans told me that there was nothing wrong with closing down polling stations. Close them down. Every Democratic mayor should be closing down all those polling stations. But you know what the media will call that? Radical. How come they don't call it radical when the Republicans do it? You know what the Democratic Party will do? Oh, no. Don't do that. They close one of ours, we close 10 of theirs, okay? That's how you fight back in politics. You know why? Because do I want less people voting? No, I want everybody voting. Even if Republicans win, I want everybody voting because I'm an American and I believe in democracy. But why do I do it? It's so that the Republicans say, uncle. And they go, okay, all right, maybe we won't close all the black polling stations. Yeah, that's goddamn right. If I close enough of your polling stations, maybe then we'll have an even conversation about closing the goddamn polling stations. But what does the Democratic Party do? Oh, please don't do that. Oh, I do declare I got a cocktail party to go to in D.C. Oh, please don't do it. You know what I want to call them. So let's just leave it at that. You guys want to play hardball? You want to play politics? Or you want to keep getting your ass handed to you by the likes of Trump, you weaklings?
Just be strong, okay? Just say what you want to say.
Mm-hmm. It's true, though.
Incredible.
It's true. That is a strategy that has worked for them continually. They tried that strategy with Obama's election. Yeah, just shut down polling places, make it harder to vote. Now, the thing with Barack Obama was he was so popular, people were like, fine, I'll wait 10 hours in line, but I'm voting, because they loved him. And people did not love Hillary Clinton enough to do that, to get out and vote. People got out and voted for Obama no matter how hard they made it to do. People did it, and this election, it didn't happen. And you're absolutely right. The Democrats never pick up that fight. That's what I'm talking about. Get dirty.
Yeah.
Shut down polling places. Make it difficult for Republicans to vote. Scare the hell out of them. You know, bus voters in. Get some buses. Say, hey, you're not allowed to vote here. We going out to the suburbs.
Yes.
And a row of buses and make you bus.
Oh, you want black people to vote in your suburbs? Deal.
Yeah, here we go.
I'm going to bring in planes, trains, and automobiles, okay? You want black people, we're going to give you black people, more than you can handle. You know how quickly they reopen those polling stations in black areas? You see buses full of black people. Oh, yeah, we're here at your polling station. Oh, we'll wait all fucking day, right? All of a sudden, you know what, maybe we should reopen those polling stations, right? That's how you play politics if you care to win, if you're not paid to lose like the Democrats are.
You know, the Democratic Party became the party of Wall Street, became the party of continuing neocon wars. We have a Peace Prize president who's currently bombing 7 different countries. You know, they said that Bernie was a pipe dreamer and a fairy duster, and it turns out the idea of Hillary Clinton being president was the fairy dust pipe dream that everybody didn't see. Democrats were given a populist movement handed to them on a silver platter by Bernie Sanders, and they arrogantly rejected it. And who rejected it? The money people inside the DNC. Exactly what Cenk said. Their first business was to make sure they defeated Bernie Sanders, the populists, the people who wasn't serving power and Wall Street. They had to defeat him first. In fact, They elevated a populist, Donald Trump. And what did it do? It came back to bite them in the ass. So it's time for us all to become activists. We're the ones who have the power. We always did have the power, and now we're going to have to take it. You know, when Nixon was president, we talked about it before. When Nixon was president, that's when we got the EPA. That's when we got OSHA. He actually proposed universal health care that is better than the health care we have right now. So it's time for us to organize and activate.
Okay, look, this is with Trump now on the precipice of victory, because Wisconsin's really shaky, right?
No one else near as I can tell
Has called. No one's called it other than Fox News. It's not over yet, okay? But it being on the ropes here. Look, this turns into real rebel headquarters. So you want real media that's going to speak truth to power instead of being mealy-mouthed and calling everything even? Well, then you join us. TYTnetwork.com/join. You make us stronger. The stronger we are, you like Jordan Chariton in the field challenging Democrats. He's the one that took down Donna Brazile. Thank God for that, okay? He's the one at the Dakota Access Pipeline. Give me 10 Jordan Charitons. Look at the damage I could do. Let's do some real reporting. Let's do some real news. You know, when's the last time CNN broke a story? Never, because they don't want to disrupt the system. If your business model is the status quo, why would you want investigative reporters that bother the status quo? Give me more Jordan Charitons. Give us more reporters. Give us more hosts. TYTnetwork.com/join. This is Rebel Headquarters. And then that's to change the media. And you know how important the media was, right? And then we got to change the government. Wolf-pack.com. Volunteer today. Donate today. If you can't volunteer, give them $10 a month. Look, give them $27 a month. They're doing a drive right now. So all the Bernie Sanders supporters and all the Democrats who were lied to, saying, hey, don't worry, fall asleep. Hillary Clinton's got this figured out. The Democratic Party has it figured out. The establishment has it figured out. They were wrong. They lied to you. Come join us. Go to wolf-pack.com. Be part of the movement to change this system, because the system is killing us. The money in politics not only corrupted the Republican Party, it destroyed the Democratic Party. Come join us at Rebel Headquarters, tytnetwork.com/join. Now, let me give you some numbers. Now we're looking at Michigan. 1.1% lead for Trump with 64% reporting. Look, I don't have the county by county. Maybe Ben has more, but that is doable. Now.
Yeah, you got it down to 30,000. It was down to 13,000. Now it's 30,000 votes in Michigan.
That's good news. What is not great news?
It was 13. Now it's gone
Wisconsin's not looking good.
Not only is Wisconsin not looking good, here comes Trump in Pennsylvania. 1.3% lead for Hillary Clinton with 79% reporting.
She's up by 67,000 votes out of 4.7 million cast. Let me see if Philadelphia has been counted. Yeah, a lot of Philadelphia has been counted. She obviously has a gigantic. Basically, she's up by 446,000 votes in Philadelphia County, but essentially the whole thing's been counted.
Okay, guys, we're on the edge here. It's almost over.
A lot of votes outstanding in Pittsburgh. I think she's going to hold on in Pennsylvania.
I'm not sure she's going to hold on in Pennsylvania. I'm
telling you, like in Philadelphia and Pittsburgh, they've counted 23% of the vote. And
all right, that's good news. And she's leading. It's not like she's down in Pennsylvania.
Right,
she just has to.
She leads by 100,000 votes in Allegheny County with about 25% counted. So there could be some.
Wisconsin, 75% reporting.
Yeah, she's not going to win. That's where it's done.
49.1% to 45.7. So that is 3.4% lead with 3/4 of the vote counted. 3.4%. That is a big lead.
74,000 votes. 74,000 votes counted in Wisconsin. And again, Fox called it. I mean, I got it. They made that. We shouldn't fall for it. They essentially decided the election in 2000 with an incorrect call, which they had to rescind. But, let me see. In Milwaukee, they've counted a lot of Milwaukee. There's not a whole wealth of votes counted. They've counted a fair amount of Madison. Again, if some of it hasn't been counted, and I would say that if she were down 10,000 votes, 15,000 votes, I'd feel pretty good that she was going to make that up. But there's no. The Fox is right. There's no votes. There's no votes there. Wisconsin is done. So the election's done. So we're best case scenario. I thought her best case scenario is 269, but she's not going to win that district in Maine. So it's not even a tie. Her best case scenario is 268 without Wisconsin. That's if she runs the board on Michigan and Minnesota, unless, she reverses Arizona. And that counts, by the way, giving her New Hampshire.
Yeah. We were telling you that this race is not over. There was some outstanding chance. It's on its deathbed now. So now, unfortunately, we got to take a really quick break right now. Okay, so stay with us. We'll be right back. And obviously, if Wisconsin gets called by others, we're going to call the race. And then you think we're talking about now the ramifications. Yeah, we talked about the ramifications of the Democratic Party and what they did wrong. We have yet begun to touch on the parade of horribles and deplorables that is headed in our direction with the Trump administration. We'll talk about the cabinet positions. It's going to be devastating. Back on the Young Turks election coverage in a night that appears to be absolutely disastrous. So Trump's lead in Michigan is expanding. So it was narrowing for a long time. It looked like Hillary Clinton might come back and catch him in Michigan. She still might, but now it's around 1.3% lead for Trump. Wisconsin is worse, 77% reporting, and it's 49.3 to 45.6. That's 3.7 points. That is way too large.
83,000 votes.
That's way too large. So Wisconsin is on the edge of tipping the election over to Donald Trump. He's also winning in New Hampshire. So not a lot of good news across the board. Not over yet, but getting close. So we're going to begin to get some more progressive voices. Obviously, we've got all these fine folks here, and Ida Rodriguez rejoins us for our coverage here. But we're also going to bring in reporters from The Intercept. We're going to bring in Robert Scheer, who's a legendary columnist here in Los Angeles and a strong progressive. We're going to begin to have a conversation about how to revamp this and rescue this. And so, but right now, we don't have good news really almost anywhere in those states that they absolutely need. So the only slim chance is she regains the lead in Michigan and Wisconsin, holds on in Pennsylvania, which is not a certainty, and that she wins in New Hampshire or Nevada. And just a FYI, a couple of states just got called, not important, but Idaho and Utah called for Trump, of course, and this is important. Washington called for Hillary Clinton, the state of Washington. But if that's important, then you're already in a lot of trouble.
And a couple places have called Iowa.
Yeah, and so Iowa's, it was going to go Trump.
That's right. So
by the way, one more number, Ben. Sorry, Ohio already got called, and so, but now 90% reporting in Ohio, and he has a 9-point lead in Ohio. 9 points. 9 points. So they thought he was going to have a 3-point lead, about a 3-point lead heading into the election. If it's 9 points, yeah, if you outperform your polling by 6 points, you're going to win in a lot of places you weren't supposed to win.
Yeah, he's picked up 5 points in state after state after state after state. Not all of them, but many of them.
So I underestimated what I called my fuck it vote, which you can call the brick vote or whatever you want to call it vote, right? But I'm done with the system. Somebody hand me a brick. Let's just call it the brick vote for sake of simplicity, right? The guys who are like, establishment window, meet my brick. I thought it was going to be about, what did I had it at about 1.5 to 2.5%, right? That's what I had right before the election. Turns out, nope, it was 5%. And 5% will make all the difference in the world.
Obviously, everything that you've said over the past 30 minutes of strategy, I want to be a part of it. has to be done, and it's what we have some control over that we can work towards. But at the same time, tens of millions of Americans are totally fine with a man who's driven almost purely by racism and sexism and Islamophobia, of hatred of everyone unlike him.
That's right.
And they want that. They went to vote for, like, it's one thing to say, oh, you shouldn't just vote against Trump. You should have something to vote for. But these people went out and voted for him. They wanted that. Their values said, yes, he is the man.
Yeah,
and we can put up better candidates, and I think they could be dramatically better, and they could run on a message that people can get behind. But there's still tens of millions of Americans who wanted nothing more than a guy who wasn't just endorsed by the KKK, but fucking earned that endorsement. He worked for that endorsement. And that's who they want, choosing judges, cabinet positions, Secretary of Defense, appointing ambassadors for America to go out into the rest of the world, a world he knows almost nothing about and has cared nothing about.
Well, now white people know about the ghost that people of color have been talking about for a long time. We have been feeling this. This is no surprise to us. Now that you have numbers on it, now white people that are allies to people of color can see what we're talking about, that this is a real problem in this country. And the sexism is so deep. The sexism is worse than the racism, because you see black men being exterminated on the streets and you still let a black man in the White House. But a woman, I wore my suffrage white today. I thought we were headed somewhere. This is my suffrage white. But I'm just telling you, it's not, this is something that we have to deal with. And if this is what happens to expose it so we can go to battle and we have the revolution that we need in this country so that we can move forward as people, then this is what's going to have to happen. Because a lot of people are going to get their asses whooped behind this. They think these are the people of color from the 50s. You can't roll up on us like you used to roll up on us before. This is going to expose a lot of stuff, and I think that in some ways, socially, we're going to move forward.
So here's my take on how the vote breaks down for Trump supporters. So the one thing I think Hillary Clinton had right in this election was her comment about the basket of deplorables. Of course, the one thing that the press heaped all sorts of criticism on, like how dare she? No, that was the one part where she was A, correct, and B, actually fighting back a little bit. And as a classic Democrat, she apologized the next day. So now, so it breaks down in this way, in my sense. 50% are, they're like, I want America to be great again, and by that I mean I'm in charge and you're not, right? That's right. And so that's your basket of deplorables. Not much you can do about that. Tick-tock, tick-tock. They still have a demographic disadvantage as we go into the future. There's an argument to be made, and I will make that argument, that this was their last stand. It's a powerful last stand, okay? So that's the might and the wrath of the angry right-wing white man, okay? And you just felt it. So, and they're going to feel awfully proud about that. Half of Donald Trump supporters, which is what Clinton said, and I think she's right about this too, are just disaffected voters. And so they're angry that they got a minimum wage job at Walmart when they used to have a good job. They're angry that their kid isn't going to have anywhere near as a good lifestyle as him, can't afford a house. How are they going to afford a house on a minimum wage job? In the old days, they would have passed down their plant job to them. And maybe they were angry at the Democrats because they brought in affirmative action and their son had to compete for that factory job, and they didn't like that, right? But now there is no factory job. All there is the Walmart job. So they're angry about that, and so they got misdirected. Their anger got misdirected against the powerless instead of the powerful.
That's
okay.
Right.
So there's now another portion, which is the brick voters, right? Mm-hmm. I just don't like this, and I'm not a Republican. I'm not a Democrat. I'm an independent. I don't pay any attention to politics. Mm-hmm. I mean, if you're not a Republican or a Democrat, you don't pay any attention to politics, right? Mm-hmm. So, but those are the guys who are like, somebody hand me a goddamn brick, okay? Look, this is not working for me. I have no hope here. Mm-hmm. So I'm stuck in the middle of the country, and I got no hope. Somebody hand me a brick. I'll go any direction. Now, if the Democrats had nominated Bernie Sanders and the Republicans have handed Jeb Bush, the Democrats will never believe this, but I guarantee you that Bernie Sanders would have won, and easily. And Bernie Sanders versus Trump, that's two outsiders. That's a little bit more of a wild card. But Sanders, unlike Hillary Clinton, had a 15-point lead on Donald Trump. You know why? Because when somebody says, hand me a brick, you want to hand it to the guy who says, I'm going to get your jobs back, and I'm going to do it, and I'm pointing out to you the Wall Street guys who screwed you. They go, yeah, that makes sense, right? And the other guy says, no, I'm in bed with the Wall Street guys, even though I talk a good populist game and I'm going to give tax cuts to the rich. Bernie Sanders would have just said, hey, no, what are you giving tax cuts to the rich for? You're going in the wrong direction. The guys who were handed a brick could have voted for Bernie Sanders. But you lost that 5%. And it turns out that 5% was the whole election. So now, how are you going to fight back against that? Well, that 25% of the country, the 50% of Trump's voters, and again, the math here, I get it, 50, 50, and 5 doesn't add up. But you know what I'm saying, 47 and a half, and 5, if you want to be more exact, is those guys, you're not going to be able to reach them, okay? But luckily, they are dwindling, and the rest of us are rising. The guys who are the half of the Trump voters that are disaffected, plus the brick voters are enormously reachable. We can easily swing the next election by having those guys on our side. But even the Republican voters who are disaffected, you know what? I actually find it fairly easy to reach them. You know why? Because I don't bullshit them. And so they say, hey, Hillary Clinton's corrupt. And I go, yeah, here, you should see my videos on the Clinton Foundation. They go, oh, this guy's honest. Okay, that's true, right? Then I say, okay, politicians are corrupt. They're like, that's right, goddamn right, brother, they are, right? And I say, oh, who corrupted them? Oh, yeah, how come that question never gets asked? The people who corrupted them was not a poor Mexican immigrant who just crossed the border. It was the guys who have all the money. It was the donors. And you know what they say? You're goddamn right, brother. That is right, okay? And even the guys who are mad at the Mexicans and the immigrants and all that stuff and the Muslims, et cetera, I go, hey, now who do you think, you say the system's rigged. That's right, the system's rigged. Who do you think rigged it? The guy who just crossed the border who has no power? Or maybe some guys that have a lot of power and a lot of money? And that's where that even the Republican voters, they pause and they go, huh, right. You think we can reach those guys? Goddamn right we can reach those guys because we're right, okay? And they know it. But you're not going to reach them by running a standard establishment pro-corporate party, which is what the Democratic Party is today. And that's why they lost today.
Let me give a couple of interesting numbers here. Non-college white men, 72-23 for Clinton, for Trump. No surprise there.
Say it again.
72-23 for Trump.
Oh, 72-23.
That's
That's almost
amazing.
50 points. That's a 49-point lead.
Right, but that's
Like we do
But they
that.
didn't talk about it. We talked about it earlier, Alonzo.
Hold on. So let me get through the whole thing. So college white men, so even college white men, and this, to me, these are the guys who should be particularly ashamed. 54-39, because they knew better.
For
Trump.
college-educated white men.
Because the only thing Clinton wins is college white women, 51-45. But even that. So what's staggering is non-college white
5%
women.
of the women who are college-educated.
Non-college white women, 62-34. Trump.
Absolutely.
28 points for non-college
Absolutely.
women.
We're socialized to hate each other, and this is no surprise to me. The woman-on-woman hate that you have seen during this campaign has been downright reprehensible. Like, if you pay attention to the women, we are the majority. We have the power. But the kind of hate that this woman has gotten just because she's a woman, and I'm not trying to create excuses for her actions that have been questionable. I'm just saying simply on the fact that she is a woman, she is losing, and it's because she's a woman. You know how many women I've heard say, I don't think a woman should be president. I just don't believe a woman should be president.
I know.
We interviewed a lot of them.
There's a woman I work with in Atlanta who I adore. I mean, she's super good at her job, great at her job, looks out for me. We have a really nice, friendly relationship. We talk politics. I think she's insane about politics, and she finds me amusing. But she's super good at her job. She's got a great husband who everybody likes. Her daughter is awesome. And she doesn't think Clinton should be president because she's a woman. Like, that's it. And, and she also, by the way, was the first person to tell me that Barack Obama wasn't born in America. 8 years ago. But I just mean nothing about her fits a stereotype of she could be here tonight and everyone would like her and have a drink with her, and she's, but there's a that belief is there.
Well,
a couple other things. I'm sorry, Alonzo, but I just find so interesting because Nate Silver's saying in terms of how the polls did tonight, obvious answer is terrible. But it's actually a bit more complicated than that. He says Clinton could actually still win the popular vote by 1 to 2 points. And the range, they said she'd win by 3 to 4. If she wins by 1.5, it's not this giant.
It was off by 2 points.
That's the second election in 16 years the Democrats would lose, even though they got more votes.
She's only down by single digits in Texas based
look
on
at the
votes
House.
counted so far. The issue is going to be what you got it maybe wrong in Pennsylvania, although Pennsylvania's tightened up massively.
No. Breaking news. He's taking the lead in
Yeah,
Pennsylvania.
so that's and then there's a lot of votes. As I said 30 minutes ago, Philadelphia's counted, and she won. She's up 400,000+ votes there in Philadelphia. But so he may win Pennsylvania. But where it's missed, where it was just missed, was the Midwest. And that's where it's going to be most glaringly wrong. A lot of talk about white voters after the election, writes Harry Enton, but looking at the exit polls, not the full story. It's obviously a big part of the story. Clinton underperformed Obama with blacks. That was expected, and Hispanics.
Oh, my God, really?
Clinton only won 88% of the black vote. Exit polls in 2012 had Obama at 93. She's at 65% among Latinos, and Obama won 71% of them. So this guy's going to look at that, this Trump guy, when he speaks tonight or tomorrow, and he's going to be like, I told you, we were doing well. I love the Latinos, the Latins.
Only 65%. Only 65%. Look, everybody let down everybody today. Okay, let's just keep it real on that. But at the same time, Latinos, what have you done? That had needed to be 95%. So for the Latinos who voted for Trump, well, if he kicks out any of your family members,
we could literally be reporting on the construction of the wall in a year.
And by the way, just because this is fun, the death penalty is having a really good day. The Associated Press, this is also from 538, has called the death penalty vote in Nebraska repeal, and it was repealing that the legislature abolished the death penalty. So they're restoring it when the legislature, a conservative legislature, was like, we're getting this wrong. But the voters have turned that around because these are Trump voters who went out, and so that's getting turned around. And early results in California's referendum rolling in 16% of the vote in. Yes, which would have repealed the death penalty in California, is down 54 to 46. So we'll keep the death penalty in California. Sorry, Alonzo.
No, it's okay. You were talking about the wall. Trump may be right about the wall. Mexico might pay to build the wall to keep us out. Mexico might be, we can't have these crazy some bitches coming south. We'll build that wall. And to get to what you said, I wasn't that aware of the woman versus woman thing. But racism in America, for anyone to pretend that it doesn't exist or that it's not a powerful force, it is a huge force. It is very easy to tap into. There's a lot of scared white people. They're scared of black people because you tell them that we're violent and dangerous and this and that. They're scared of Latin people because you say they're stealing your jobs and they're changing your language. They're scared of Muslim people because they're saying they're going to bomb you. They're going to, they're terrorists. They're going to get. That fear is easy to tap into, and it's a much bigger force, I think, that people don't like to admit it. One thing today that people were telling me, they said, listen, a lot of people are going to say one thing, but when they go in that booth, they're voting for Trump. And this has proven that to be true, that there were a lot of people who, no matter what they said about being progressive. Now, when you talk about the education level, the non-college white man, we all knew he was going to vote for Trump. A lot of those college-educated white men are bros, and a lot of them are scared of their losing their legacy. Right? They got into college because their dad went to the college and so on, and they could lose all of that now, and like I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. I just know that I hope Omarosa remembers I was nice to her every time I met her.
So she's what's her role now? She's
number one African American.
She's Secretary of the Interior. So look,
You think she can't become a secretary?
It's entirely possible.
Absolutely.
Cabinet member? I mean,
he thinks most
I
of
mean,
them should be secretaries.
it's wide open now because if the president doesn't have to have any qualifications,
That's right.
why would any member of his cabinet have to have a qualification?
That's
Yep.
Well, they do have to have one qualification. They have to agree with what he says and does and not question him. So
I don't think a Republican
there's-
Senate would stand for that.
no, they'll check him. That's
Okay.
what I've been hearing. Trump can be checked
Okay,
by the
so-
Republicans in the Senate. That's what I kept getting tweeted for the past few months. Let's test it. Let's
Okay.
fucking test it as a country.
Right. Real quick. Some small good news. And if she held Pennsylvania and held Michigan and Wisconsin, it'd be great news. She's won Colorado. So Colorado's been called. Hillary Clinton has won it. It's that unexpected Wisconsin-Michigan that really, that was all the difference. So it's not over yet, but
Pennsylvania,
not looking good. Nearly a 4-point lead in Wisconsin with not much left to go. So Wisconsin's probably going to end this thing, and he has taken the lead in Pennsylvania.
So where do we go from here?
Well, so as soon as it's called, we're going to get hot and heavy into what we're going to go from here.
So,
yeah.
Let's do some soul searching.
So this is what? This is Clinton headquarters?
That looks like it.
Yeah, I can't wait for this fucking speech. Yeah, sorry I let you down.
Can I talk for like just 45 seconds? So we had another conversation from the Republican primaries about American exceptionalism, and I think that we've identified it, that we do have American exceptionalism. We have found a way to be almost perfectly immune to progress as a country and as a people. That we're separated from most of the conflicts of the world. Like the refugees we bring in, it's very few, and we choose to bring them in. They're not just streaming over the borders. I mean, we had a terrible economic thing, but we've largely bounced back. We have so much money and so much access to information. As Mary, the editor, pointed out, it's shocking to me, there are more libraries in America than McDonald's. We have access to so much as a people. We are so safe and so rich largely, and yet we're behind so many places that are objectively worse off on all the most important measures of human happiness.
Can I jump in for a second on that? So I went outside to take a breather, have a beer, and now I'm back and I'm fired up, okay? And the reason why there's so much ignorance in this country is because we have an entire political party that continuously puts down education. They defund education.
Yeah.
They make it more difficult for people to access information and education. Yes, we have the internet, but it takes a significant time or a significant amount of time and resources to sit there and research all the issues on your own. Our media has failed us. And when we live in a country where getting higher education means digging yourself into a gigantic hole, it's very easy to be ignorant in this country. I mean, you have Marco Rubio talking about people who have psychology and philosophy degrees as if they're stupid for wanting to be enlightened, okay? They look down at education. Yeah. They look down at knowledge. They look down at information. The one other thing I want to add is I missed the discussion about women voting against women. I have no respect for women who voted for Trump, okay?
Yeah, me too.
I think so poorly of them, and the reason why is because, look, I don't think that you're a single issue voter. I just think you're dumb, okay? I think you're fucking dumb. When you vote for someone who openly treats women like second-class citizens, who talks about them as if they're nothing more than a piece of meat, who has been accused of sexually assaulting them, who has been caught on tape talking about groping them and grabbing them by the pussy without consent, yeah, you're an idiot. You're an idiot, yes. Okay? You are voting against your best interests. I'm losing my mind tonight because of how stupid the majority of the country is.
Yeah, it's a self-hate is real when it comes to women, and I don't think I keep saying it over and over again, and people were like, oh, you're on this soapbox, this feminism soapbox. As a Latina woman, I tell you, I've heard it over and over again in my family, there's no way a woman can run the country. Really? We're in a household where we are raising a large percentage of the country as single mothers. We have to budget money that we don't have. We have raised people that go get post-secondary educations. How is it that we cannot run a country? They have brainwashed these women. When you hear those women, when they go out and they interview those Trump supporters, I just don't trust her. I just don't trust her. And I'm with you. I don't respect women, specifically who voted for a man who is going to be on trial for sexually assaulting a child, a pedophile.
Yeah.
Like, let's talk about grown-ass women who, because what did Dave Chappelle say?
I think that charge has got dropped. I mean, I think she's not going to pursue it.
I'm sure she's not.
Oh,
but what
no,
I'm
he's
saying,
not going on trial for that. Not now.
Yeah.
Also,
Look,
getting back to what you said, I mean, this started a long time ago when intellectual became an insult.
yeah.
Intellectual is an
Definitely.
insult. Like, oh, you're one of those intellectuals.
Yeah.
You got all that book learning. You've been reading. You know, it's held against you in our society. And
It's elitist, right?
Which is mind-boggling, but it's absolutely true.
But they'll turn around at the same time and say, oh, you're wrong about Trump and Bush because Trump went to Wharton. wait, I thought reading was bad, right? Wharton is at the University of Pennsylvania, which is an Ivy League school. Bush, I know it's hilarious, but went to Harvard and Yale. So what happened? I thought it was bad. But when your guys do it, they're like, hey, we had one that was actually smart, which is actually not true. Their daddy's got him in, right? But they use it as an insult now. Hey, again, goes to the same theme of Democrats not fighting back. You know how you fight back against that? You go, sad day for you. You're right. I'm smart and you're stupid. Okay? And you go, and you don't say it to the voter, okay? You say it to your opponent. You say, look, guilty as charged. I'm what they call an intellectual because I have an intellect, whereas my opponent is a moron. And he's proud of it. Hey, look, you want to vote for a stupid guy? Hey, remember the stupid guy at work? Remember the guy who's kind of listless and doesn't know what he's doing? Remember how many times he screwed up the project and then you had to go and fix it? You want to vote for that guy? Have at it, Hoss. You know what? If you strip them of their power and their respect and dignity, they got nothing left, okay? Yeah. And so, but the Democrats never do that. They never attack them at their core because it would be impolite.
Yeah.
So another thing we're done with today is the era of politeness.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. So progressives, don't listen to the Democratic Party who tell you to neuter yourself and be fucking polite, okay? No. Progressives we're not going to be polite anymore. You know what we're going to do? Something that the DNC has cock-blocked this entire fucking time, we're going to fight back, okay? So you come here, you come to Rebel headquarters, okay? You become Rebel headquarters, tytnetwork.com/join. You join Wolfpack. We fight for a free and independent media. We fight for a free and independent government, free of the corrupting influence of money, wolf-pack.com. You join both those organizations, and we're done with politeness, okay? We fight back. And so, you know, I got to be honest with you guys. Look, as much as I've been, saying all this stuff on air, it's my fault too. Look, I'm going to be like, when the mainstream media guys talk about how we curse too much, or we're this, or we're that, or we're impolite, and we're, and it's not the credible way of doing things. It hasn't held me back, right? But I did it anyway, but I felt like maybe they were right. I don't know. Are we, like, am I the bad guy? I kept, so I don't know if you know this, but I had those doubts, right? And like, maybe we need to be more credible. Maybe we need to do this. Maybe we need to do that. And maybe that even did hold me back more than I should have been held back. I don't know. I'm being honest with you, right? And so when the Democratic Party said, hey, we should support Evan Bayh, I knew that was bullshit. I fought against those corporatists all along. But when they said, hey, you know what, maybe, this strategy or that strategy I kept thinking, am I missing something? Why are we letting them close all the polling stations in the South? Why don't we fight back? Why don't we close their polling stations, right? And I'm like, but maybe I'm a ruffian. Maybe I'm a Visigoth, a Philistine, right? And I don't understand their sophistication. Every time they told me Obama was playing three-dimensional chess, yeah, I fought back against it. You guys have seen all their videos, right? But I thought, well, maybe I'm wrong, though. Because you know why? Because I'm open-minded. I'm that goddamn intellectual who thinks, hey, maybe we should discuss all the options, right? So when they kept telling me, hey, no, Obama's eventually going to come back around to it. When? So, marijuana, if you wait long enough. Well, look, it turns out the people already voted and says, okay, it's legal all over the place now, right? Obama's still waiting. The philosopher king, right? Should it be a Schedule 1 or a Schedule 2? Get to it, right? And so, no, they were wrong. Whatever little I held back, I shouldn't have held it back. And we won't hold it back going forward. The era of politeness for the progressives is over.
I wonder how young people feel right now. If you're 20 or 21, I wonder how they feel. Because I always joke with my nieces and nephews, like, look, I had a good run. All right? I had a good run. It could end tomorrow. But you, whoo. But now, what? I don't even know. Nobody knows what future they're looking at, right? Because we don't have any definitive policy from the Trump administration as to what's going to be done with education, with housing,
They don't have
You
et
want to
cetera,
talk
et
to me?
cetera.
You want to talk to me about criminal activity and criminal behavior? How come Hillary Clinton didn't attack him relentlessly for Trump University? Relentlessly. You have a problem with millennial voters? Attack him relentlessly when it comes to the issue that matters to millennials the most, which is affordable college and higher education. She didn't do that. She didn't do that. All she thought she needed to do was sit back so he could destroy himself. He didn't do that, though.
No.
She underestimated him. To be quite honest, I underestimated him as well.
Everyone
she did
did.
not
Everybody did. I
attack
did too.
him enough.
I did too. I didn't. I thought the brick vote was 1.5 to 2.5. It was 5%. I thought she was going to win Wisconsin and Michigan. And I thought, and I said it on ABC this week. I said whoever the election's about, they're going to lose. If it's about Clinton, she's going to lose. If it's about Trump, he's going to lose. Well, it was largely about Trump, but he won anyway.
Yeah, but
so
those-
I was wrong about that.
And those poor white people who think that Donald Trump is there with them, that they don't realize that he is an elitist and he would never, ever, I have a friend who's a comedian, he would not allow her in an elevator with him. He's an elitist to his core. Yeah. And these people really think that he's their guy. Like they think he is one of them. They have no idea that he has no plans to be involved with those people. Like you think the African Americans, you think he doesn't have a trailer park, Joe? You think he doesn't have a trailer park?
You know, when it comes to poor white people, I'm gonna quote my friend Matt Kazam and say, "Look, I got my own problems.
Yeah.
You know, I can't be. I mean, they're the group.
Can you think about me for 1 minute?
No, you're on your own. They are the people who I've said continuously. They get what they deserve. This is what you voted for. So whatever happens, you asked for this. So your job's already gone, right? Your job's already gone overseas, or it's gone from a union job in the north to a minimum wage job in the south. That's all done. And whatever happens from here on out, well, you voted for it. So 2 years down the line, if things are worse, you know, then you might be upset. They're talking about they want to reverse everything Barack Obama did. So if we go back to 2008, God bless him. You know, again, I had a good run.
Okay, so hey, look, man, you got to give us power, man, because without money we don't have power. Let's just keep it real. So let's go on a barn burner tour through the red states, man. Let's go talk to them. Let's wake them up. Hey, and in whatever language they understand. And you want to get in the beginning. Want to be a little rough verbally, right? And get them a little angry. They'll show up to a rally. They'll show up, right? And so whether it's to rally against you or not, say, hey, schmuck, how'd you wind up in the minimum wage job? You think it was that immigrant that came across the border? You think it was a gay guy? How the fuck? What are you talking about? Hey, schmuck, you're in the minimum wage job because they rigged the rules. They rigged it by buying off the politicians. Okay, yeah, I'll go do that tour, but we got to have the resources to do that. I said Alonzo down in the south. I don't know if you want to go.
Okay. Jake, they got guns.
Okay,
they got a lot of guns. They got big guns. And you let me know how it is. I'll let you do the first couple of stops.
I will.
I'll
do
up
it
to
in
you
January.
in Atlanta.
You know,
I'm going to Alabama in January. TYTnetwork.com/join. And the brakes are off now, okay? So like, hey, you know, before I'm worried about asking you guys to become members, to get independent media. I'm not worried about it at all anymore. You got to join. If you don't join, how can we fight back?
Hold on. Can I give you a couple updates, as if this matters? She won Nevada. Sorry.
Oh, that's good.
She's up in New Hampshire now
by
300 votes out of 500,000, 550,000.
206 votes she's ahead by.
And in Pennsylvania, he's up by 2,000 out of more than 5 million.
Yeah.
So
and Michigan
individual votes don't matter. You can vote however the fuck you want.
Michigan got to about 10,000. It's now back up to 25,000. I just sort of have the sense she's going to win Michigan and lose Wisconsin. And then there's the bank shot Hail Mary of Arizona. But the votes that are missing.
No, she's down in Arizona.
Yeah, she's down the same in Arizona, and the votes that are out are mostly Trump votes. I just want to, I get it, corporate and your money in politics, and I know it's important. I don't think it's as important as you do because you think it's the most important thing, and I think the message is more important. And I think that that one of the reasons why this racism and this sexism and this fear-mongering works so effectively is because they've had this incredibly effective machine that tells people for forever that the reason you don't have that job. I mean, it's very basic. It's not just, they didn't just think of it now, but now we get to broadcast it. And the damage that those guys do at Fox and Rush Limbaugh and all those guys on the radio have done for 35 years of misinformation. And then the very thing we talked about, when Alonzo said, you know, and Cenk and Alonzo were talking about how we made intellectual a dirty word. They made intellectual a dirty word. They did it, and now, now this is the result we're left with, and we've done a nice job, you know, certainly online of combating that nonsensical speech, but it still carries the day. For you look at this map for this giant red swath that when this is all said and done, she may end up with 1 million more votes than he did. Yeah. We're not going to find out till tomorrow until we count California and Oregon and Washington. But she still may win the popular vote, which is unbelievable that could happen again. I almost don't want her to because it'd be too painful. This cockamamie system left us in this situation again.
Let's not forget that we experience this very frequently, where Democrats can win millions more votes in House races and be down by 30 seats.
Yeah, it's almost as if the system
fucking rigged.
It's almost as if the system is rigged, right? But it's rigged in the opposite direction.
Yeah, and by the way, I mean, look, there's great reasons why we have federalism, and you know, some things benefit the small states, some benefit the large states, but it also affects the fucking electoral college because small states with low populations get the extra boost from the way things are set up that larger states don't get. The same way that the Senate isn't in any way representative of how the country actually breaks down. And a state with 100 people in it gets 2 senators, that same thing affects the Electoral College. And we're seeing right now that a couple of votes of the Electoral College is really significant. And that's the way it's set up. The founders were the smartest guys in history, all that stuff. But it matters. It matters now, hundreds of years after the writing of the Constitution. It has a fucking effect.
The founders were slave owners who died when they were 40. Like they weren't such geniuses.
No, I think they were.
Both.
But hold on, guys. But remember, at the time, they had to make a compromise between the South and the North. So that electoral college was totally an invention of that particular time and that particular compromise. And you know what else they put into the Constitution? Amendments. They said amend the Constitution. One of the things you can amend is the electoral college, which makes no goddamn sense anymore.
Well, you're talking about numbers. I just want to throw this in. I got a text from a friend. Canada's immigration website has crashed.
That's funny. That is.
I went on.
Well, did you go on?
I did. Oh,
the most shocking part of tonight is that our website has not crashed.
That is amazing.
Okay.
Triple stream. Jesus.
He's going to nominate
we should give them
so
credit
many
in there.
judges. He's going to nominate so many judges who are going to back
Good
up
job.
the legislation by so many Republican majorities that are going to restrict the voting rights of people, restrict the reproductive rights of people. It's going to happen, and it's going to be so easy. It's going to be so easy.
Oh,
great
we're not covering the state
we-
legislatures, by the way. But imagine the repercussions down through all the individual states, and we're getting ready for a census.
Right, and
if
you'll
we're
get to be
drawing
a
lines-
judge. You get to be a judge with no law degree.
Right, Andrew DeBow.
Where'd you go to school? I went to Trump University. Come on down.
Nah, he hates those people.
And in 4 years, when we hopefully beat him with I don't know who, maybe Hillary Clinton could run again. It's her turn. It's her turn.
I'll pull a Jimmy Dore here.
Third time's the charm.
So when somebody, unless of course the thing that we also talked about today, that there'll be some terrible terrorist attack, and he'll go to war and he'll start bombing people, and just like George Bush in 2004, and he'll win and he'll be president for 8 years. But even if we beat it, okay, I got you. But even if so, the legacy that we're going to feel from those judges that he's appointed, we're going to feel for 10, 15, 20, 25 years.
I have a friend that's
We had
in the
an opportunity.
military that told me that months ago they started preparing for war because if Trump goes into office, they're almost positive that they're going to be in some sort of war.
Okay, let me tell you guys what. I'm still too polite. You see this? I got some brakes left in this car, right? Because I'm not going to name the group. But there's a very large progressive group when I asked him, hey, what's your strategy on getting money out of politics? Because it's clearly killing us, right? So, and Barney Frank had this interview that is famous only in my mind, I think. It was with our reporter, Jordan Chariton. It was a great, great interview during the primaries. And he said what I now call the Barney Frank rule. He said, what do you want us to do? Get none of the money from the banks instead of 20%? And yes, Barney, that is what we want you to do. Because if the Republicans get 80 and you get 20, that is a perpetual losing strategy. That is a strategy doomed for failure. Instead, you have to upturn the system where we don't rely on banker money to win elections. Come on. I mean, Barney, you're supposed to be a smart guy. Okay, being the Washington Generals to their Harlem Globetrotters is not a smart strategy. So, yeah, there is a different way to do this. And so, shoot, I actually lost a train of thought for the first time in 12 hours.
You're not going to be polite, and Democrats are weak. Does that help?
Just curse. Just throw some curses in. Yeah. Because you've earned that.
I'm so amazed. This is surreal to me that Make America Great Again has been like the greatest marketing strategy to people who really resent others. Like,
and let's not be polite, okay? It was a great strategy to people who hated Barack Obama for being black.
Absolutely.
And what they were saying was make America white again. That's what they were
Absolutely.
saying, and that's what they heard. And they said it over and over, and that message worked. And that's not, that's not to say that every, as it's been said a million times, right? Not every Trump supporter is a racist, but every racist is a Trump supporter.
That's right.
And those are people who get up and go out and vote. Those are people, when you tap into that kind of anger, they get up and go out.
I was hoping that those were people who would not go out and vote, especially after he said everything was real.
Absolutely. They can't wait to vote. It's like the gun lobby. Tell the gun lobby that they're going to take away their guns. You don't have to say anything else.
Absolutely.
Just they're going to take away your guns. They are going to go vote, and on the way home, buy another gun just in case.
Well, let's at least get that out.
Get those voters.
Can we at least get that? Can we at least announce, hey, nobody's taking your guns. You don't have to go buy more guns.
It's funny. No, we're going to go with the Cenk Uygur strategy. We are going to take your guns away. Okay.
No, be more polite, Ben.
No, you go say, hey, listen, man.
Excuse me.
No, look, you make the case. You make the case, man. So I know that seems like, don't do it. You know what? First of all, the only guy who had a chance of winning tonight, he probably lost anyway, the guy running against Roy Blunt, right? Who said, yeah, I know about guns. I was served in the military, and here I could assemble one while blindfolded. And I'm going to do background checks. And you know what people thought? They respected him because that was strong. Don't back down from your positions. That's not the right way to do it. Okay.
He's down by 6 points.
Yeah,
he's down by 6. Okay. So I want to, anyway. So I want to just finish my thoughts. Sorry, I remember now. So the progressive group then, like Barney Frank, says, no, just wait, right? And so it's what Martin Luther King called the tranquilizing drug of gradualism. So I said, what's your plan to get money out of politics? They said, Supreme Court justices. I said, wait a minute now, this was before Scalia passed away. I said, you're waiting on someone to die and then hope a Democrat is in office, which, by the way, happened, and then we still didn't get it, right? And then you're going to wait around for years and years until they get a case. And you hope that they maybe overturn Citizens United, but liberals don't like to overturn precedent. It's ironic, right? But you hope that they overturn, but they're not going to overturn Buckley v. Vallejo and Bellotti that actually made corporate giving legal in the first place. Those are the decisions back in 76 and 78 made bribery legal, right, in the form of campaign donations. So your strategy is to wait around for decades? Now that strategy has been pulverized because now Donald Trump is going to be president. You're going to get a conservative Supreme Court. You're going to have to wait a couple of more decades. No more waiting. No more waiting. Wolf-pack.com. We go to get the money out now. Now, the good news is you don't need any of these guys. You don't need a so the Republicans are going to have the president, they're going to have the Senate, they're going to have the Congress, and they're going to have the Supreme Court. You don't need any of it. Amendment is above all of those things. You change the system. Wolf-pack.com. So meanwhile, those progressive groups, who, by the way, sometimes get funded by the same millionaires and billionaires, that go, hey, tap the brakes, not too much change, not too much change. Just wait, just wait. No more waiting, no more waiting. See, here's the other thing, guys. There's they have no ground support. So I know we do Wolfpack, and we got over 33,000 volunteers. After tonight, we'll have over 34,000 volunteers, right? And when we go knock on doors, you know how many other progressive groups from Washington we run into? None. They got a bunch of fucking lobbyists, okay? Yeah, where are you guys? No, look, grassroots guys are different, right? There's a couple progressive grassroots folks, and you know what? We run into them, right? The big Washington progressive organizations never see you, motherfuckers. I don't see you. Paper tigers. So keep pushing your fucking paper around, okay? So wolf-pack.com, okay? What did I tell you when we launched it 5 years ago? Done running, okay? And we got to pick up that mantle again, man. They're not coming for us. We're coming for them. Let's go get them, wolf-pack.com. And you thought I used to say it before? Buckle up. Because what other hope do you have left? As Trump would say, what do you have left to lose?
Darryl Ice is losing.
All right.
Oh, Mike Judge is a genius. I don't know if you saw Idiocracy, but President Camacho is upon us, and it's not going to be pretty.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about it. So right now, guys, it's almost a foregone conclusion. Yes, there it goes back. New Hampshire now was briefly Hillary Clinton.
Kelly Ayotte is back ahead too, and lead up. And I'm not going to pay you. I'm not going to pay you any money. I'm just not going to do it on Pennsylvania. It's too much.
So look, here I'll tell you another thing I should tell you. Okay. So I made some bets. I made them on the show. You saw them, right? I thought I made bets with Michael on that Trump would win Florida and Ohio. He did. Okay, that a 2-to-1 odds that he'd win Pennsylvania. Looks like he's going to win Pennsylvania. Okay, but we don't know that yet. We don't know yet. And so, but I was thinking of betting bigger through the stock market, right? Against
shorting,
like you short the market, right? Yeah. And you know why I didn't do it? Because I was like, God damn it, I don't want to root for that, right? So it's one thing to have cutesy bets with your friends, right?
That's what Trump did before the housing crash.
Yeah. I'm like, I don't want to root against America. I don't want to root against the world, right? So I didn't do it, right? But that was a smart bet. He would have made a lot of money.
The market's massive plummeting across the world.
Japan's stock market is down 5.3%.
Yeah, plummeting across the globe. It'll, I'm sure, obviously plummet here.
Just like Brexit.
The good news is that the amount of money that those of us who have money in the market are going to lose tomorrow will make back in taxes.
Yeah.
You know?
See, these are the days when I get to laugh at everybody because I don't have any investments, you losers.
So Pennsylvania and New Hampshire are very, 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 very close, but Wisconsin and Arizona are not.
And Michigan keeps getting pretty close and then expanding back to a more comfortable lead. It's super. Michigan, Pennsylvania, New Hampshire, very close, but Trump leads in all three, and Wisconsin and Arizona, one of which she must win, are not close.
So here's the ones that are left undecided. Okay, right now, as we stand in the electoral college, it's 244 to Trump and 215 to Hillary Clinton. So the ones that are left are New Hampshire, Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin, and Arizona. So out of those 5, she has to win 4. Okay, she has to win New Hampshire, Pennsylvania, Michigan, and then either Wisconsin or Arizona. Okay, good luck. Especially with Wisconsin and Arizona at 4-point leads. We broke the New York Times needle. It's just stuck at 95%. I think they felt embarrassed to go to 99% before they call it. And again, we're on a death watch here because Wisconsin's now 90% reporting, and he has a 3.4% lead. It's not going to happen.
Catherine Cortez Masto has beaten Joe Heck in Nevada.
I said it jokingly earlier in the show, but I mean it. We've almost gone 12 hours now, and there's a whole bunch of points I didn't get to make. Okay, so we ran out of time in the Senate discussion because what I was going to say about Joe Heck is I was going to say and I've said it before on the show, that's the guy that is most likely to lose. Why? Because he had no base left. He was the first to say, I unendorsed Donald Trump, and what he said was vulgar and unacceptable. Oops. Yeah. So now you're in no man's land, right? And no man's land gets you a loss. That's what it gets you. Now, will the Democrats learn that lesson? Again, it doesn't matter what they learn. We're going to come for them, right? But for all of us that are paying attention, don't lose your base. Look, even in a Republican, unexpected, shocking, over-the-top victory, Joe Heck loses. Why? Because he spoke out against Trump and lost his base.
That's going to happen to a lot of people. Don't think they don't have a list of everybody who spoke out against Trump, who every Republican who didn't get on board, who turned their back or publicly went against him. They're all going to pay.
It's a good thing that we largely avoided criticizing Donald Trump for this election.
Yeah.
So we'll be okay.
I mean, you want, yeah.
We better delete that playlist.
Yeah, and look, so that's the thing. You want to talk about right and wrong, right? So I was wrong because I thought that she would win in a squeaker. I was more right than I guess the other folks who thought she was going to landslide, et cetera. But I thought she was going to win because I didn't think she'd lose Wisconsin or Michigan, and it looks like she's probably going to lose Wisconsin, and that's the election, right? And then loser Donald. Look, I get it. Everybody will say, you were wrong, Cenk. He won. He won the most important office in the world, right? And you don't get any more winner than that. That is obviously a super fair point. And you want to throw that back at me, have at it, Hoss. You get to do that, and that's life, okay? But the reality is that the 100 videos I did on that, nothing was inaccurate, and you know it. You can go back and watch them. And he did bungle all those businesses. He did go bankrupt all those times. He did run all those scams. He did do all those things. That is who he is. It just turned out the miscalculation was the Democratic Party was even bigger losers. So it was a battle of giant losers. And the Democratic Party is like, no, we are professionals at this. We can out-loser anyone.
Well, I'd like to think
and they did.
Like you guys, the argument that the big takeaway, and
Don't hold back.
I think there was tremendous misrepresentation of what those emails showed about the campaign. But the point I keep trying to make, and Cenk just illustrated it, was how wrong the DNC was. Not morally wrong, not fixing the election, which I don't think they did. The rules made it very difficult for somebody like Bernie to win. But they were wrong in their assessment of who the right candidate was to run, and they were wrong in their assessment of how that candidate ought to run once they had it. Mm-hmm. The magic of the Clinton machine, and there are a lot of things the Clinton machine does right. They've now managed to be the nominee in 3 different elections. They never got 50% of the vote. Not one time.
Yeah, that's true, too.
For how their geniuses are. And they've fought scandal every step of the way, and we were embracing it. I mean, the one good thing is that we don't have to go through 4 years of Jason Chaffetz and Trey Gowdy investigating Hillary Clinton and her emails. And WikiLeaks, dump it all, get rid of it, doesn't matter, don't care. Thanks for your help. By the way, one fun thing, just because it's the most important story ever, and why 538 still has it at 21% as her chances. It actually has gone up because he got close in Michigan. It's still close in Pennsylvania. So forget Wisconsin. She loses Wisconsin. She loses Arizona. She wins Minnesota. That takes her, she's at 215. Minnesota takes her to 225, right? Wins Michigan. That's 16, takes her to 241. Wins Pennsylvania, takes her to 261, right? Mm-hmm. Wins New Hampshire, takes her to 265.
Yeah, where are you
Wins
going with
Maine,
this?
takes us to 268. The state that was too close to call, which is, the great state of Alaska. So I'm just saying, like they gave her a 13% chance of winning Alaska.
Here comes 13%.
Here comes. No, that's
Honestly, I got to be honest with you. I forgot about Alaska.
So did I. I forgot about Alaska. So not only do you have to win Alaska, but I just looked at their thing and I'm like, how did they go up from 14 to 21%? What happened? But Michigan got closer. Pennsylvania still close. New Hampshire got closer. Yeah. Maine and Minnesota, she's likely to win. That does it right
Alaska.
there. 271. And
you
then
think Trump already won, but you know nothing.
Okay, we got to do
I'll
a break.
escort myself out.
If he wins, do you think England's looking at us saying, "Ha, you laughed at us about Brexit"?
Totally. Yes.
Oh,
yes,
yeah.
That's right.
Oh, yeah. Okay, we got to take a break. Here's what's happening. Now, we thought we'd do at least 12 hours and then we'd maybe wrap by 10. No, not wrapping. The election isn't called yet. we're going to wade through Alaska. No, I'm kidding. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. But when we come back, the other thing we got to discuss is the Trump presidency, because that is, of course, exceedingly likely at this point. So what's he going to do, the cabinet, all that. We're finally going to get to that. We ripped the Democrats to shreds. Let's talk about the Republicans and what their plans are. And by the way, I got to read you this real quick. Our guys that went to go protest Hillary Clinton, they are going to Trump. They're walking to Trump headquarters, okay? So go join them. Trump's headquarters at the Hilton Hotel, 1335 Avenue of the Americas. And I don't know how many of the guys are going to be left, but they're headed there right now. So apparently we're going to go protest Trump, 1335 Avenue of the Americas. We'll also get another report in, hopefully, from Michael Shores inside Trump headquarters. And we still don't have the speeches.
And just a fun little thing, in addition to the markets crashing, you know what's rising? Gold.
So the conservative talk radio gets rich. Okay.
Disaster seeds. I should have bought them.
Okay. All right. Right back.